Hi, and in this video we're going to finish Key Area 3.3 about memory by looking this time at long-term memories. So, unlike the sensory and short-term, the long-term memory has an unlimited capacity and can hold that information for a long time, even a lifetime in some cases. But in order to get information into our long term, it first has to be encoded or transferred from our short term memory. And there are three different ways this can be achieved through rehearsal, which would be regarded as a shallow form of encoding information, where you have repeated exposure to the same information, hopefully allowing it to be stored into long term. Or you can have organisation, where you put information into distinct groups, distinct categories, with all that information there is linked together. Or you can have elaboration, which would be regarded as a deeper form of encoding. And this is where you make links and connections to things that you're already familiar with. So making analogies, oh, that's just like this thing here, and that will hopefully lead to improved information retention over the long term. But long term memories are only any good to us if we can actually retrieve them and access them later. But this process can be aided by what we call our contextual cues. So, a contextual cue is something that will relate to the time and place when that information was first encoded into our long term memory. So, this explains why smells can often be really strong memory triggers. So, if that smell was one of the sensory information that was available as that memory was first encoded, encountering that same smell again can bring that memory out of your long term back into the short term. So you might recognise this diagram from a previous video. So let's try the remaining questions that relate to this. Pause the video and hit play when you're ready to see the marking scheme. The diagram we have represents the flow of information through the different levels of memory. And part 3 tells us rehearsal increases the chance of information being transferred from short term to long term memory. So describe one other way that information can be transferred from short to long term. So the two options we have here is either that information can be put into categories, into related groups, which is your description for organisation. So you need to make sure that you're clear that the information in those groups is related, is linked to get that mark. Or you can talk about elaboration, which is the information can have detail or meaning added to it. Also says it would accept a correct description of either organisation or elaboration, and if you use those terms, you must make sure they go with the correct description. And chunking would not be accepted at all, as this is not an example of encoding, it's just a way to improve short term memory. And part 4, Y represents the retrieval of information from long term memory. So you're asked to describe how contextual cues would aid in the retrieval of that information. So, really, what it's asking for is a description of what a contextual cue is, and these trigger memories relating to the circumstances, the conditions, the environment, the stimuli that was present when that memory was formed. Or you could have given a suitable example, such as the scent or smell example that we described earlier. So hopefully all of these videos have helped you understand the memory area much better. If you do have any questions, please let me know.